So here we have the cloud. I've put two parts together, just need to match them up. For this particular method I'm crocheting, single crocheting around. I've already started down here in this corner and I've worked my way up to here, and I'm going to finish it off with you so you can see how to do it. I am going to say there are loads of different ways you could have attached these together. You could have sewn them, you could have whip stitched them, you could have done them wrong size facing and then turned it out the correct way, like this for example. But I kind of like the single crochet and reverse single crochet, which I'm going to do on this one. But to start off with, we need to do some single crochets down to here. I'm going to leave a gap at the middle, so I'm going to leave a gap at the bottom to stuff it. So I'm going to get on with doing the seaming. So what we need to look for is an area in which to put your crochet hook. Now these are actually stitches along here, so I'm just going to put my hook into there. You need to try to match them up with its relating stitch on the other side. I'm not doing anything fancy other than just going into a stitch or trying to find two threads to go under. Now this bit here where I'm actually working in, let's see if we can focus on that. See, from where I am that does not look like that's focusing. Let's see that bit, see if that works. A bit more light to my help. So this is a stitch here and this is a stitch here. I'm going to go under two strands of that stitch. So I'm literally going through the stitch and two strands on that stitch as well, and then doing a single crochet. Now depending on, you kind of want to do it so it's not puckering, it's not pulling and it's not stretching. So sometimes you might need to put two stitches in a row, sometimes you might need to only put one in. Like here we've got 4 rows. I'm probably going to put 5 stitches in here. So there's one. That's in the beginning of the row. I'm going to put one at the bottom of that row. Put one in there. I'm going to put one in there, and I'm going to put one in that corner as well. And what I might end up doing is putting 2 in that corner stitch to help it turn the corner. So what we've just done is we've just come down here and I'll put 2 in here just to help it turn the corner. Hide that end. And now we've got actual stitches to work into here, so I'm just going to work into those actual stitches. So I've put 2 in the corner stitch just there, and I've worked in these stitches here. And then again we come to some rows that we're going to be working, end of rows. Now also what you will notice that these are kind of shaped rows, you know, they kind of, so we're going to come down and we're going to put in a couple here and then we're going to come down here. So I'm going to put in 1 or 2 here, I'm going to put 2 in the same stitch here, 1 here, and then I'm going to put 2 in the corner again just to help create that shape. And so that's what I've come out of. I've done a few square blankets or patchwork square blankets, and just kind of have to guesstimate it. Put one more in that corner stitch just there. Lay it out to make sure it's not rising up in any way, it's not stretched. Looks good. Looks very similar to this section here. So, and I did this weeks ago and I cannot remember what I did. So we've got more stitches along here. So I'm just going to work into those actual stitches. That's my last actual stitch. And again, I'm just going to go around here. I'm going to put in one or two in the same area along here until I get down to the bottom, which is where I'm going to stop, so we can start stuffing the cushion. I keep calling it a cushion, it's a cloud, it's not actually a cushion. Right near the end, I'm just going to find that one there, and then this here is my original starting chain. I'm going to put one in my original starting chain on that side, and on the other side it's my starting chain, but it's the other end of my starting chain. I'm just going to chain one to stretch that out, loop out a bit. So we're going to have a look. How's it looking? It's not too bad. This is the first edge that I've already done off screen. This is the second edge that I did on screen. So now what we need to do is stuff the cushion. So I have some stuff in here, and I'm going to start off by, I'm just going to fluff it. So once you've fluffed it up, we're going to really just start popping it inside the cloud. And I'm going to start at the top end. Now you don't want to overstuff it so you end up stretching your stitches, but you want enough in it so it's got some volume in it, and so you create. You want to do it so you're creating a shape, and so it gets some volume. This isn't something people are going to be sleeping on or laying on, it's just decoration, so you just want to give it some 3D shape. And I am literally just going into all of the areas, all of the puffy areas of the cloud. Come up a bit. So I'm going into the top of the areas and I'm pushing it in. And it will take more than you think it will. It will. It's always deceiving. You get some stuff in it, you go, I do. And then you realise, no. You need so much more. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to try and make it symmetrical. I mean, you don't have to make too much, you know, not all clouds are symmetrical, you know. But I've tried to make the pattern so it is, so I'm going to try and do it so it looks cloudy and symmetrical. We are going to do some extra work on this to make it more 3D, more puffy, so don't over worry about it. I'm just going to put the last of that in. I think there's enough in there. What I am going to do is I'm going to start weaving in these, closing this end off, and then I can carry on stuffing. We can carry on stuffing once I've closed it off a bit, so before I get to the end. I'm going to find some stitches along here in which to crochet into. Like I say, this was the starting chain. So I'm basically going in the loops of my starting chain to close it off, and I'm doing a single crochet along here as well. A couple more stitches, and then we're going to check to see how the stuffing is doing. Do we need to add any more? I'm just going to do this. Add in the stitch marker. And I'm just going to have a look. Do we need to put any more stuffing in? Do we need to move it around a bit? I'm actually quite happy with that. My chair's really squeaky today. Listen to that, going away for it. I never noticed how bad that squeaked before. So I'm just going to finish off these stitches, and then I'll come back and I will show you the next stage. Okay, so I am at my end of that row, and I'm just going to join with my first stitch of my border, and then I'm going to do a slip stitch into the next one. I'm going to kind of keep this loose. There we go. Don't want that to be too tight. And then I'm going to do a chain one. And then we're just going to have a quick look, make sure it's all okay. It's looking good. Amount of stuffing's okay. So we're good. What we're going to do now is we're going to do the reverse single crochet. I like the twisted rope pattern effect that you get from this. It's a good old stitch. I use it quite a lot, to be honest with you. And to do this, you do need a chain one, and you do need a bit of tension, some loose tension on this one, because you are stretching it across. So what we're going to do is, okay, so we are going to go into the stitch right underneath us. I'm not sure if this is coming up on the camera, I hope it is. So here's my chain stitch, and here's the stitch I want to go into. I'm going to go into there, I'm going to yarn over like you would normally do, I'm going to bring up a loop and go through two. I'm then going to come over to the next stitch on the other side, so I'm not going this way, I'm going this way, I'm going backwards. And this is why you need a bit of tension to be able to come back down here. So I'm going to go into that stitch, draw up a loop and pull it through. I'll try and get it so it's on the purple background so you can see it a bit more. I'm going to go into this stitch, go in, pull up a loop and draw through both of those loops. Into the next stitch, into the stitch, into the stitch, draw up a loop and then pull through two. And then you're going to do that all the way around. Twisted rope effect that you get on this. So what I'm going to do, it's a bit difficult for me to do on camera, I'm going to finish this off and then I'll come back to you and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so I've just got to the end and I've got to join this stitch to this stitch. So I'm literally just going to go in and do a single crochet. Actually, I'm not going to do a single crochet. I'm just going to do a slip stitch. I'm going to go in. I'm just going to do a quick and simple slip stitch. Oh yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Let me try that again. I'm going to do a slip stitch into there. I'm going to get in. I know you didn't see any of that, I'm really sorry, but it was really hard to get into. Oh, I can do it again. So, trying to do a slip stitch backwards is not the easiest thing in the world. So, I'm going to do a slip stitch into this stitch. I'm going to go in, same time locking, bring up a loop, and then we're going to slip it under. Come on, you can do it. There we go, it's close enough. And then I'm going to chain one and I'm going to bring up a loop. Now, I'm going to bring up a bit of a loop. I want quite a long tail on this. So, that should do. We've got a couple of jobs to do here. We need to, I'm just going to pull that through that last stitch. We do have a couple of ends to weave in, plus this long one that I've just created. Now what we're going to do with this long one is we're going to use it to help us create some shape and definition into this. So we've got, doesn't really come up too well on this camera. I don't know if it will translate on the video or not, but we've got a dip here and a dip here. A dip here and a dip here. So we're going to concentrate on these two dips. What we're going to do is we're going to bring these in a bit. So I'm going to get my yarn in and I'm going to bring it out close to that edge there. And then I'm going to come across to here. What I need to do is I need to grab. So I've come out here and I'm going in the next stitch over because I want to pull that in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come out a couple of stitches along. Doesn't really matter too much where you're coming out from, but you kind of want to pull that in so it dips in so you get a bit of a dimple. I'm going to go back into where I came out of and I'm going to come back up to the top to where my next end bit came from. We don't want to pull too hard on this one. And then we're going to come across a stitch and then we're going to go all the way along to the other side. 2 stitches along from the edge. Pull that yarn through and we're going to create a bit of a dimple there as well. So we've got a dimple here and a dimple there. Ooh. Then we're going to create another dimple here by going along a stitch and coming along down to the other area where we wanted to make 1, 2 stitches along from the edge. Give it a bit of a pull so we've got a little bit of a dimple. Go to the edge and then I'm coming down to the bottom and again I'm going to give that a bit of a pull so we create another dimple. Because this is a 3D display, mobile, whatever you want to call it, 3D decoration, you can also do the same on the other side. So I'm just going to quickly do that as well. I mean, this does obviously have, from my point of view, this does have a wrong and a right side, but you know, if you create the dimples on both sides, it just helps the effect a bit. Come over here, 2 stitches away from the edge, create a dimple there. This edge, create another dimple there, and then bring it back out to the bowl. Give it manipulate it a bit, get it to look the way you want it to look. I'm going to try something. I don't know if it needs it, but I'm going to see what happens. I'm going to come back in from there, and I'm going to come out the middle. Does that need a dimple there? I think it does. So I'm going to bring that back out. Oh, if I can find it, I'll bring it back out. There we go. Didn't need it. So I've just popped it back out, I've loosened it up, doesn't need it. And there you go. That is the cushion part, or sorry, that is the cloud part of the 3D decoration. So all you need to do now is weave in your ends, which I'm going to do. Oh, there's some happy yarn there from another project coming soon. So all you need to do now is weave in your ends, which I'm going to do, and then I'm going to show you how to attach the rainbow drops. Okay, so we are back. I'm not sure how much of this you're actually going to be able to see. Hopefully that's picking it up. I have some invisible elastic. It's jewellery making elastic. It came in a kit. I can't really tell you much about it, other than it's this on the packet. But it's jewellery making elastic. And it's the clear one, but of course you can use anything you want. I'm going to show you 2 methods, one with this and one with the leftover attached yarn. So what you need to do to start off with is try to work out how much you want them to hang off the cloud. So I want mine to hang around about there on the first one. I tend to do mine, actually I'm going to do this one different. I'm going to do a reverse. I'm going to make these look more like a rainbow, so it's going to be longer on the edges on this one. So I'm going to add on another extra bit, and I'm going to trim that off. So when I was measuring that, I was holding it here. This is what's going to be inside the cloud. And then I measured it, and then I added a little bit extra for what was going to be tied on to the rainbow drop. Again, you're going to need needle for this. I'm using the same one I used for weaving in my ends. And I'm going to go for the blue one to start off with, which is going to go here. Actually, I'm not going to go for the blue one, I need a purple one there, don't I? I don't know, how does rainbow go? Red and orange, red and yellow, orange. I'll show you this one first. So this is how you would do it if you had your yarn still attached. You basically, since you've still got your yarn still attached, all you need to do is then just sew it onto the edge that you want it to be. Just keep sewing it in the same method that I'm about to do for this one. So, stick, to my rainbow drop first. And I'm going to wrap it around there. I'm going to wrap it around, and I'm going to go back into the rainbow drop and pull it tight. I'm going to wrap it around again. And I'm going to go in again. And then pull it tight, and hopefully that should be reasonably well attached. I am now going to come up to the corner of my rainbow. I'm going to hold it up. This is going to be the opposite of that one, so it needs to be quite long. I'm quite happy with that. And then I'm just going to sew this in a few times just to make sure it's locked in. The thing with this elastic thread is it can undo itself, so you kind of need to make sure you're overdoing it. So there's the first one attached. I am then going to trim off my excess, but I'm not going to do it really close. I'm going to leave a little bit just in case I need to grab on and tighten it up. Right, I didn't leave that one good enough of an edge, so I'm hoping that's not going to undo. So for the next one, I'm going to do it a little bit shorter. I don't want it to be as long as this one. So I'm going to take this measurement from here to here. So I've got one that I've already done, and this one, and I'm taking that exact measurement, and I'm not adding anything else to it. I'm just literally cutting that off at that point. And that is going to be for the middle one. So I've done one edge, now I'm doing a middle one. I'm going to pop that in. So the middle one will be, in this case, the middle one is going to be the shortest, which is why I haven't added any extra to the edge for this. Oh, my battery's about to go. That's not good. And then we're going to find the middle. I'm doing it by eye. I think that's the middle. And I'm just going to pop that in there. Every time. I'm just going to put a knot in there. Oh dear, it's not having it today, is it? Put a knot in, and another knot. And at the moment these are just placeholders, so that one does not need to be perfect because you might need to undo it. And then the next colour we're going to go for is the pink. I'm going to get the pink one out, and the pink one is going to be the same size as this one. So we want them to be symmetrical. So I'm going to go for the same length plus a little extra. this edge just in case. I'm happy with this edge. I'm looking at the height to see if they're both the same. They look to be pretty good. Yeah, I'm happy with that. That's good. And then we're going to do these two sections here, which are going to be in between these two. So I need it to be a little bit longer than this one and a little bit shorter than this one. Once it's all finished and I've charged my battery, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go off, charge my battery, I'll attach all these bits in the way that I did with the first one. And I'll show you the finished product.